constantly making Trevor quiet before the break. He likes to talk. Highland High School.
You missed me. You missed me.
Michael Gutierrez is in the house. We shift back to the Southeast Yosemite League, and we're going to talk to Kerry Mills next, actually, and that's the king of the Southeast Yosemite League. And we'll get to that, Michael, but you guys almost got him last year down at South. This is your third year at Highland. And you know what? Second year is better than the first year, and that's going in the right direction. So how are you feeling going into year 3?
We're confident with where our program is. We felt just kind of the steps we took last year, being able to compete with South High, who we know has kind of ran our league for a couple years, and then getting the playoff win were big steps for us. Where our kids, we felt we had very good buy-in, but it just kind of proved everything that we were preaching to them, that it's going to work and it's going to pay off. So we're very happy with where we are coming into this season.
And I think what's really nice for you is a lot of the guys you had last year are back. And Chance Cooper was probably your number one guy on offense, and he's gone. But you have Rodney Roden back at linebacker. You have Bo Brandon coming back at receiver. You have Zeke Arambolo coming back at quarterback. And offensively, it seems like you really have a nice little nucleus.
Yeah, we're very happy with that. Rodney obviously did some big things for us. Having a sophomore quarterback, we knew there'd be some growing pains throughout the year. But Zeke did a great job for us, and coming to this year, he's proved to be a great leader of making sure guys are in the right spot. And with what Rodney did, it made it easy for us to move a guy like Mikey Melendez, who made some big plays for us out to receiver, where he can contribute there too. And Bo being a 3-year starter for us on offense, it's always nice to have those.
How much of what you've been able to accomplish in two plus years now at Highland has been culture-wise, saying, hey, we're going to expect to win and expect to compete for championships at a school where that hasn't always happened, versus, X's and O's and on-field stuff?
I think a lot of it starts with just the support we have from our administration. And then that first year, I always say we had a very good senior class that right away bought in, and everything we wanted to do, they accepted it. It wasn't kind of the gripes you hear sometimes of changing of the guards. And so we were very fortunate with that, and it just carried over with each class,
right.
Where we feel as though we're establishing a culture of competitiveness, and hopefully we can say pretty soon a culture of winning consistently.
We always talk about, offense will sell tickets, but defense will win championships. How much of that big linebacker core that you have coming back do you feel like really can kind of maybe make this a very defensively strong team for you early on, especially when you have Arvin coming up in 10 days from now?
Yeah. No, I think Josh Abeda and Rodney Roden are going to be two of the better linebackers in town. They played great as a sophomore and junior last year. So we're very happy to have that, and it allows us, where we're maybe a little younger in some other areas on the defense, to feel somewhat comfortable with those guys. Those guys just work so hard and understand what we're trying to do with the different fronts, and just versus different coverages or with different coverages. So it's fun to have that, and it makes it easy to install, knowing that we kind of have our core there with those two guys, and knowing that we feel pretty sound defensively.
Mike, there's no league championships on this campus for football. Obviously, no section championships. When you look at SCYL this year, South loses 8 of their 9 top tacklers. Is there a talk within the locker room of this is our chance with the group that you have to maybe get that first league banner up in the gym?
We've tried our best to avoid that. Obviously, if it happens, and hopefully one day when it happens, it's going to be a great feeling. But we talk a lot about just the process and just really getting better every day and doing everything right in the moment. And come the games, everything's going to feel so normal, so natural, where when we feel we compete with the team, we can now take that step to finally win those games. Like we said, South High, we felt very good about competing with them last year, knowing that was a huge step for us. But we still know that we have to get over the hump with North too, and then we can focus on the league champions. So we feel as though we have a way to go. We're in the right directions, but as long as we focus on the process and getting better each day, we feel as though we'll keep heading in the right direction.
Kerry Mills just walked through the door. He's on next, and so, just no trade secrets now, okay? He's listening.
Carrying those flip-flops, man. That guy is the most relaxed football coach you'll see.
It's okay. But seriously, you talk about being close and waiting for that breakthrough, and I know the loss to North was disappointing last year because maybe you felt like you were ready to break through against South, and then you lose to North. But then you beat Bakersfield Christian on the road in the playoffs, and that's such a huge win. And the Golden Valley game was kind of a weird game in the quarters. 28-9 was the final, but I think it was a much closer game than that on the field, as I recall. And so because of that, I mean, you look at, you lost 7 games, but they were all competitive games, and you were really close to something special last season. And is that sort of the message or the feeling going into this year, is that, hey, just iron up the little things and maybe find another Carlo Baumet and those sort of things, and all of a sudden you're right there.
Well, we talk a lot about one of the issues we had last year was the red zone and making sure we capitalize there and just shooting ourselves in the foot. And, against North High, against Golden Valley, we definitely did that to ourselves quite a bit. Both those teams were the better teams those nights. Golden Valley played such a great game against us, mistake-free, where they deserved to win that game. So we talk a lot about how we cannot do that and hurt ourselves like we did last year. And if we eliminate those mistakes and you look at kind of the score and the feeling of games, how we are right there. Now we are in that position where a late drive does change the game.
Right.
But we have to eliminate some of the mistakes that we had consistently throughout last year.
I mentioned Carlo Baumet, and he had such a terrific season last year, an all-area kid. This year, I know the focus shifts. Your linebacking crew has so much experience, as we mentioned. How do you obviously you don't have another Carlo on your roster, but how do you replace that production maybe in other ways?
Yeah, and that's always the hard part is you want someone to step up, and I heard Eric Smith say it about next guy up, and I think most programs kind of have that, and we're still hoping to find someone who can do everything he does, but we kind of feel just like with Chance, it may be a collection of guys kind of filling in different spots. We don't have anyone who has the size and strength that Carlo possessed, but we have some guys who have speed, and Bryson McCatherine stepped in last year and did a great job on our defensive line, and he's more of just a speed guy with some strength, and we have a couple guys who can complement that with him this year. So I don't know if we're going to count on one person to do everything that he did. I don't think we'd ask that, but we're hoping that guys can give us the same contribution collectively.
What's Carlo up to this year?
Carlos up at BC.
He is at BC. Okay, that'll be good for the Renegades, I'm
And
sure.
then Chance, Minot State.
Yes.
Yeah, so good spot for him there.
Yes.
Zeke Arambolo, I think we got to talk about him. And as a sophomore, was obviously had some mistakes, those 10th grade mistakes, but he showed some flashes of being really good too. And we talk about your skill guys. Boy, if he could be the missing piece there and really step up his game, you might have something behind center too.
Yeah, Zeke as a sophomore, we knew we had an experienced line that we could, really trust our running backs to make the plays and have to rely on a quarterback to run as much as we did with Breaker the previous year. But Zeke did a great job making reads and growing throughout the year. He's gotten a lot stronger in the off season. You could see his athleticism, his maturity really coming out with a lot of our pre-snap checks, and we're hoping he can be more of a run threat this year than he was previously, and that can obviously make our offense a lot more diverse.
Yeah, and I know you a lot of Wildcat and things like that last year, but as a sophomore, you threw for 1,600 yards, 14 TDs. I mean, you're doing something right. How do you handicap the league, Coach, before we let you go? Obviously, South is the team to beat, but you guys, that pecking order are right below them, I think, or at least feel like you can be.
Yeah, we're again, we keep talking about the process issue. That's kind of been throughout the year, being all in and giving everything we have, and whether it be a drill, film session, a walkthrough, just making sure our minds are right and making sure that we take every session seriously and are really focused. So when we come, whether it be South High, opening up with Arvin, everything kind of flows throughout the game, and we're not sitting here next year saying, hey, we were competitive, but it didn't happen, but hopefully we can say we added a few more victories with it. Absolutely, and I think you're very close to that, and we wish you good luck this year. Michael Gutierrez of the Highland Scots, thanks for joining us on the Super Show. Thank you. And we'll be right back after this.